Hi, everybody. It's uh, March 28th, 2026. Um, a lot of times, well, not a lot of times, but frequently, we process the information that our lives gives us. And processing takes a certain level of detachment, it takes a certain level of neutrality, it takes, it takes a certain level of being able to accept pain by way of the truth or by way of uh, breaking down falsity. So processing is an important factor our in our lives. But the beautiful thing about our lives is that when you follow God and when you believe in God and trust in God, processing takes a sort of a lower rung on the ladder. Because when you give up the need to process and trust in God, this may sound stupid. This may make you sound like a zealot, but the thing is when you trust God and when you trust in the life that God gave you and the facilities He gave you and the strength He gave you and the love He gave you, processing takes a back seat because you don't have to be right all the time. You don't have to get the facts sorted out. You don't have to get motivations cleared in your mind. You don't have to form a plan for the ironclad or bulletproof plan for the future when you believe in God. You could be wrong. The beautiful thing is when you believe in God, you could be absolutely wrong and still feel 100% confident and 100% infallible because the love of God supersedes knowledge. It supersedes wisdom. It supersedes uh, defenses. You know, God is going to catch you. God may let you scrape your knee. He may let you walk through a yard of thistles and get cut up and scraped up. But if you persist and if you strengthen your faith in God through those situations, processing and avoiding danger and avoiding heartache is going is not is not going to get you to the same place as believing in God. That's why there's power in God and believing in God, because the things that we hold close and the things that we covet here uh, are surpassed by the spiritual level, and the spiritual link is through God. And this gets me to thinking about water, and it kind of ties into the whole thing about processing. Uh, when a certain the element of water in your life may come in the form of your very conscious existence. Uh, your mind can flow like water for a moment or for a long period of time. Your mind could be placid. You could be enjoying life. You could be surrendered to the fates that God has given you, and so everything is peaceful and still. But like water, one splash could push you to losing faith. One splash could have you sinking to the bottom of that very so-called water you felt secure in. So when your life is water, it is a good state, and it could be the worst state, and it could be a neutral state. The way you deal with water in terms of interpreting your life is that you have to not only understand water in one state, you have to understand the water in the different states, and you have to kind of remember the characteristics of the different forms of water, the different forms of existence, the different forms of consciousness. So when you can understand what comes from the different states that this water or so-called water in your life takes, you could realize that some things are kind of the trappings of the scenario. So, for instance, if you are feeling good about your life and then all of a sudden somebody you love says something to you or betrays you, and you realize that what comes along with this sort of behavior or a reaction to this behavior is you start to lose faith in yourself. You start to feel a loosening of love, like love is floating away from you and leaving your life and leaving your consciousness. What comes from being betrayed and being hurt uh, by a loved one, you start to your whole theories of the upper tenets of your life start to unravel. So if you know those are the characteristics of the splash of that state of water, you know that those are just things that get you off kilter. Those are things that skew your view. So if you could recognize those as certain trappings of certain situations, you could see the truth. You could see that the person that your loved one that betrayed you or hurt you or gave you heartache, you could see that if you believe in the love you have for them, if you could trust them, if you could find the trust in your heart, you know that everything is the same. It's just a splash. It's just a momentary snag, and you could get over it and you could work through it without getting caught up in the existential dread. This is just a part of life. So another thing about water in your life is when you feel like you are in a vast ocean and you are in the middle and you're kind of marooned. And this happens in certain points in our lives, like maybe in our 20s when we're trying to figure out what it means to be who you are, or you're starting to find out who you are and you don't feel any connections that could kind of pull you toward a sense of security in yourself. Or maybe when you're a little bit older, you feel like you haven't done as much with your life as you wanted to, and there's no opportunities in sight. So like when you feel like you're in water, open water, and marooned out in the middle of a wide expanse, how do you deal with that? You shrink your world. You shrink the ocean. You have to come to the truth that you can't be marooned in a universe as abundant as ours. You can't be marooned with as much opportunities as God gave you. This open expanse of water that you are stuck in, that you see yourself in, that's just the heartache taking over your eyes. Once you realize that you have agency just from the very fact of being alive, you see the opportunities. You see that there's land that you have been overlooking. You see that there's boats and vessels in order to climb onto and to get to where you're going. And this is evident when you see people with severe disabilities living life. You wonder how somebody could be so disfigured and could be so handicapped and still smile and still laugh and still live. And they don't even think about unaliving themselves. They don't even think about what they don't have. You see that the strength that they have in order to survive can be in their state. So this is the abundance of life. Even if everything is taken from you, if you realize that state of water is just an illusion of consciousness, then you could find a way out. You could find a way to enjoy and to build. And the last thing I can say about water is that when rain comes, you have to determine how you are going to receive the rain. Are you going to receive the rain as a damper on your current situation, as a reason to hide and get inside and to bemoan what is happening to you? Are you going to change the rain into an event that causes you to flower, that gives you sustenance? I know we don't like going through hard times. We don't like going through hard times. We don't like going through challenges all the time. But if you get a certain fire about you, a fire about God, you start to enjoy the rain that God gives you. You start to thank Him for strengthening you. For when you stay out in the rain and you allow it to cause you to be better than it, when you allow it to cause you to find a way to progress despite it, you start to thank God for this opportunity to strengthen you. And that rain becomes a watering factor that waters your proverbial plants, your proverbial trees, your growth, your stamina, your tolerance. So I hope this helps. Thanks.